Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Keegan Pinch. I am married to my lovely wife, Katy. I'll be 5 years in August. We are high school sweethearts. You guys were supposed to say, we have a golden retriever, Lola, and 2 kids, Luca and Liberty. I work as a billing supervisor for a hospital. I love to travel, and I love coffee. I love being outside with my family, and I love food, particularly smoking meats and pretty much anything else.
I love when he cooks too, because then I don't have to. I am Katy. I am married to this dashing man right here. I'm a mom to Luca, who is 3, and Liberty, who is 1 and just walked in the door. I am a nurse. I recently started a business, and I'm one of the leads with children's ministry, and it is a lot of kids, like Aaron said. It is awesome, though. I also do love to travel. I love going to the farmer's market, going on nature trails, spending time with family, food, especially sweets, and I love to bake, so that is dangerous for me.
All right, so this is my faith background and story. During my early years, attendance at church was very sporadic and not really a central focus in my family growing up. As a child, discussions were really just absent, leaving me a limited understanding of what faith was. Early exposure came primarily through regular attendance to Sunday school with my best friend. It wasn't until middle school that I began participating in weekly youth group meetings on Wednesday evenings. Despite this involvement, my understanding of faith in God remained elusive, a trend that really persisted into my high school years. It was only upon meeting my wife, Katy, that I truly grasped the essence of faith. She said, "We're going to church," and that kick-started my journey. Through her guidance, I embarked on a journey to cultivate a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Despite initial struggles to fully embrace and comprehend this journey, it proved to be a transformative, providing solace and alleviating unnoticed stresses. While I continue to grapple with implementing my faith in everyday life, I find comfort in knowing that Katy serves as a steadfast source of guidance and support.
All right, to start out for my journey, to actually start out, when Aaron asked me to share our journey, I told him no twice. But then he asked me the dreaded why question, and my response was, we don't have much of a story, and it's going to be boring. So then he responds with, that's awesome, congratulations. So in turn, I realized we do have a story because our story is ours, and that alone is enough, and it's special. So to all of you who think you don't have a story, congratulations, that's awesome. Now for my actual story, it started out pretty uneventful, kind of like Keegan's. We attended church pretty sporadically, whether it be sports or plans or the mulch and the constant stuff to do around the house, there was always a different priority, it seemed like. My mom did encourage my faith. We prayed before meals, we prayed before bed, but it was more of a routine versus a relationship. There wasn't a lot of intentionality there. But I am very grateful that she planted that seed and the framework that it laid out for me in the future. Fast forward a little bit, life took a little turn, and my parents ended up getting divorced while I was in middle school. And for those of you who maybe blacked out your own middle school years or have just been out of it for too long, I'll remind you that it's awful. Right at the stage of my life where conformity and assimilating and fitting in was at its peak, my home life kind of fell apart, and I didn't really know where I belonged. I had many insecurities, many inadequacies. I mean, it's middle school, it's the world of awkwardness. However, I did turn more to my faith at that point, still sporadically going to church, but I did start attending more youth group-based events and Christian-based conferences, but my faith did remain pretty shallow still at this point. I also had this false idea of what Christianity looked like, and in my head it was perfection, something that I wasn't, and I knew I wasn't, but it was something I thought existed. So I ended up putting on this facade to try to show people I could be as perfect as I possibly could. And that was exhausting. And eventually I would grow to realize that it wasn't sustainable, it wasn't a healthy way to live. But life kind of continued like that for probably longer than it should have. Really, I was in those limbo years for many years to come yet. College came, I began to grow and develop more to finding myself. I focused on little pieces of myself, but at the same time, I still was focused more on grades and school and less about God. Fast forward again, I got married. Shortly after there, we got pregnant with our first, and that was right before COVID became a thing. But overall, besides COVID, life was good. Life was moving along. The sails were out, the boat was going and cruising on. But then, dun, 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 cue the suspenseful music, right? Yep, my boat got sunk a little bit. And life hit hard, really hard, actually. Sometimes you think your car breaks down, and then sometimes the car's on fire. It felt like my car was on fire. My dad got sick. He got really sick, actually. And when we were kind of at a stage where it was looking pretty bleak and dark, I remember we were waiting for a call from the transplant list, and I left the hospital, and I was at the stop sign at around 11 p.m. at Vincent and 2nd Street. So for those of you that know Fond du Lac, it's not a special stop sign. I stopped there thousands of times going to and from work. But it was at that stop sign that night where I fell apart, and I fell to Jesus' feet for really the first time ever sincerely. I felt like at that point I was angry, not so much with God, but with God kind of at the same time. I knew it wasn't God's fault, but I was still upset that it was happening. And I ended up just praying with every cell in my being and everything that I had in me for health and healing and praying and a miracle and for him to change the whole situation. And I was desperate. But the difference with that prayer that I've never done before was I actually entered in relationship finally. And that was kind of the turning cornerstone of my story. I ended my prayer with, "But your will, God, not mine." So with my most desperate prayer, I gave it up. However, it was not too shortly after we got the call. Things were good. My dad's doing great now. It really was an answered prayer, and so God does answer them. But it was a very pivotal and transformative moment in my life because it was the moment that I surrendered all of myself and all of our life to Jesus in a very vulnerable and intentional state. So I would never take back my moment of struggle with all that. Then we found Centerpoint. About a year later, we were done church hopping, so that was really nice. And we began to lead our family differently. He's going to get mad that I lost my bullet points. Hold on. Okay. It just clicked for us. It was really a gift. It was a church that helped me grow in my faith now that was an open heart, and it was an opportunity for us to kind of learn how to navigate growing our family in faith now. So between the awesome life groups, which are awesome, get involved, and just more great messages and the great community here, it's been really an awesome experience to help us choose to pursue our faith-based relationship with our family. Since deciding to grow our family in faith and raise our kids with God at the center, it has shifted how we do things. For starters, it truly is a goal for us to not just let it happen. Nothing just happens. But we really want it to be intentional with the things that we implement with our discussions. For starters, church isn't something that's a convenience for us. Life doesn't happen and then church fits in. For us, church happens and life fits around it. We read books, we share fun stories about the Bible, and we ended up making the decision to make Jesus a member of our family, which is just really a good way with little minds, which is what we have right now. However, I'm not going to fool you, sometimes giving grace and being patient and teaching those life lessons and then relating it to our faith is hard. It's probably the hardest. Sometimes you really just want to say, because I said so, move on. Or like just ignore the why question that came 15 times now. But we know that the hard on us right now is going to hopefully alleviate some of the hard for our children in the future, and that they can know God and navigate life and then impact others with that. So it's been a gift of peace to us and them, and as the hard times come, we hope that they can always just see God's footprints walking beside them through the good and the joys and the bad.
With all that being said, there are struggles with our family that we've encountered while pursuing faith. Trying to find that time every day to grow our family's faith. Do we be complacent? Do we just watch a movie instead of sit down and read a story together? Finding that support within our families can be very difficult at times, friends as well, to help us continue to grow our faith, especially with our kids. Lastly, external influences like societal judgment. Being afraid of what others will think of us on how we're raising our family compared to the society norms that are going on right now.
So yeah, we have had struggles. We will continue to, and there are sacrifices, but what we have found and continue to find is that we have gained so much more than we have given up. We have gained so much peace no matter what we're going through. We have gratitude, a stronger foundation for our marriage, and we have a constant reminder of God's faithfulness and goodness in all the times. Now we don't have this all figured out. There's no way we got this all figured out, and we are far from perfect. Just getting out the door this morning would have proved that. However, we appreciate that God is directing us, and he is our GPS, so he is quick to kind of help be there and to tell us, recalculating, you missed your turn.
And we are continuing to pursue our faith. We try to keep Jesus Christ as the cornerstone of our family and try to embody his compassionate nature daily. Central to our endeavor is showing our children the significance of prayer. Each morning, before we step out the door, we collectively engage in a family prayer. But let me tell you, wrangling up a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, as we're both trying to get ready to get out the door for work, it's impossible. But we make it a priority. This ritual just serves us as a reminder on our reliance of the loving presence of Jesus Christ in our household. And that's our faith story.